Wow. Wow. I mean, I saw this and was like, oh, they're going to go to war. And I'm not talking about the league versus the players. I'm talking about the players versus the players. The old players that are past their rookie contracts, oh, they're going to be big pissed about this. They're going to have their feelings hurt. Now we get to find out, do y'all really care about the future of the league? Or are you just trying to get paid now?
That's not just analysis. That's a veteran watching the league strategically divide the players against each other, and he's absolutely right to call it shrewd, because what the WNBA just proposed is one of the smartest negotiation tactics we've seen in professional sports. They're not just offering more money, they're offering it to specific players at specific times, creating a fracture that could determine whether this CBA gets signed or whether we're heading toward a work stoppage.
WNBA's new CBA offer boost pay, fast tracks max deals for stars like Caitlin Clark. The AP broke this, folks. The WNBA sent a new CBA proposal to Players Union Sunday night that includes allowing some of its young stars, like Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, a chance to earn a maximum salary quicker. A person familiar with the deal told the Associated Press.
Let's break down exactly what's happening here. The league's latest offer would allow rookies who make first or second team All-League to become eligible for maximum contracts in their fourth year. That means Caitlin Clark, who's currently making $76,000, could sign a max deal worth $1.3 million in 2027. Paige Bueckers in 2028. Aaliyah Boston this year. But here's what makes this brilliant from a negotiation standpoint. The league isn't just rewarding young talent. They're creating a financial incentive structure that directly benefits the players who are actually driving revenue growth, while veterans who've been in the league for years watch rookies leapfrog them in earning potential. That's going to create tension in the locker room and at the negotiating table.
Financial strains on the Fever. It is. But from an overall standpoint, I see what the league has done here. The salary cap in the first year would be $5.75 million, up 280% from $1.5 million. Think about that, folks. Now, it was 5.65. But let's just look at that. This is the first article I've seen since all this started that put this in a percentage. These players are pushing back on what is very obviously been over 200% increase in salary cap for quite some time. Listen to this next part, folks. That would grow to $8.5 million by the sixth year of the deal.
Those numbers deserve closer examination because they reveal the league's entire strategy. The salary cap jumps from $1.5 million to $5.75 million in year one. That's a 280% increase. By year 6, it reaches $8.5 million. Maximum salaries go from $249,000 to $1.3 million. Average salaries increase from $120,000 to $540,000 in the first year alone. Now compare that to what the Players Union is demanding. They want 26% of gross revenue. The league is offering 70% of net revenue, with that number increasing as the league grows. And here's the critical detail that's getting lost in the headlines. The league isn't budging on the revenue-sharing model. They're finding other ways to inject money into player compensation, but they're protecting their ability to deduct expenses before calculating that revenue split. This matters because gross versus net determines how much money actually flows to players. The union dropped from asking for 50% of gross to 26%, which sounds like a massive concession until you realize they're still asking for a fundamentally different calculation than what the league is willing to accept.
By the way, I just did a video about Kelsey Plum. We've got more comments from her. Kelsey Plum, who's vice president of the union, said Monday while preparing for unrivaled semifinals that getting the league to agree to the revenue sharing system for the first time is something, quote, we fought really hard for, a significant win. The WNBPA can continue to negotiate expense credits the league would get. Okay, she said that earlier. This is the other part. Actually, this might be the same, except for this. I've always been somebody that said focus on the gain and not the gap. And to be honest, if you look at where we've come from, since I came in the league until now, we're in the revenue share. It's a tremendous win.
And this is where player sentiment starts shifting. Kelsey Plum, who's vice president of the union, said getting the league to agree to a revenue-sharing system for the first time is something we fought really hard for, a significant win. Then she added this crucial line, "I've always been somebody that said focus on the game and not the gap." That phrasing tells you everything about where negotiations are heading. She's preparing the membership to accept a deal that might not give them everything they asked for, but represents substantial progress from where they started. And then she says, "We're not settling," but immediately follows with, "I'm super proud to be part of this opportunity to change women's sports." That's compromise language. That's someone who sees the finish line and is laying the groundwork to sell this deal to players who might be disappointed they didn't get gross revenue sharing.
I think they're getting close. They are getting really close. For the first time, the league is giving $8 million from revenue sharing to the players from last season as the league generated enough to trigger it for the first time. So, and what this probably has done is, I'm sure, at least I assume, but I'm not so sure, after seeing how the union has handled this and the people handling things for them, I would assume now that, because you notice a lot of things have changed. I brought this up earlier. Once they got the revenue sharing payment, attitude started flip-flopping over to the league. The players are looking at this and going, wow, if we got $8 million in revenue share.
Now here's where the league's strategy gets really interesting. For the first time ever, the WNBA is distributing $8 million in revenue sharing to players from last season. The league generated enough profit to trigger that payment under the existing CBA structure. Each player received somewhere between $33,000 and $50,000 as a bonus. Think about what that does to the negotiation dynamic. Players just got tangible proof that the revenue-sharing model works. They got checks in their bank accounts. And now they're looking at projections for future years, with Caitlin Clark playing full seasons, with expansion teams coming, with new media deals kicking in. If they got $8 million in revenue sharing from 2025, what does 2026 look like? 12 million? 15 million? 18 million in 2027? Suddenly, the difference between gross and net revenue sharing becomes less important than the trajectory of the league's growth. Players are starting to calculate whether fighting for a different formula is worth risking a work stoppage that could cost them an entire season of that growth.
Neighborhood of like a $40,000 bonus, something like that, from the league. It was between 33 and 50,000 per player. So they may be setting back, looking, well, in 3 years, are we about to get a bonus of $200,000, $300,000? With the way this is going, if we don't blow it and strike or get locked out. That's hilarious. They offered the younger players max contract sooner. Oh, you know them old players are mad as hell.
But this is the moment that reveals the league's true masterstroke. By offering max contracts to young stars earlier, they're essentially asking veterans a direct question. Do you really care about the future of this league, or are you just trying to maximize your own earnings right now? Because here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. The veterans didn't move the revenue needle. For years, the league lost money while paying them. Then Caitlin Clark shows up, and suddenly, there's $8 million in revenue sharing. Paige Bueckers is coming next year. The league is investing in the players who are actually generating the growth. That creates a moral dilemma for veteran players. If they block this deal because they're upset that rookies can earn max contracts faster, they're essentially admitting they prioritize their own compensation over league growth. But if they accept it, they're acknowledging that the new generation of stars deserves preferential treatment because they're the ones bringing in the money.
You kept losing money. I mean, let's be honest. So the league is taking care of the players that they know is going to earn them actual money in the league. Gotta tell you, I never thought, not ever did I think I would ever say the following sentence. Adam Silver did something pretty shrewd. Wow. Hell has froze over somewhere. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
So let's talk about what happens next, because this negotiation is approaching a critical decision point. The league has made its position clear. They're willing to dramatically increase the salary cap, boost maximum salaries by over $1 million, and accelerate earnings for young stars. But they're not changing the fundamental revenue-sharing formula from net to gross. That's the line they won't cross. The union has already compromised significantly. They dropped from 50% of gross revenue to 26%. Kelsey Plum is using language that signals she's preparing members to accept a deal. Players just received revenue-sharing checks that prove the system can work. The question is whether the union leadership can sell this to the full membership, especially to veterans who are watching rookies get fast-tracked to max contracts while they're still making $200,000 after 8 years in the league. And here's what makes this particularly complicated. The players who have the most leverage, the ones who actually drive ratings and revenue, are the same players who benefit most from the league's proposal. Caitlin Clark gets a max contract in 2027 instead of waiting until 2029. That's 2 extra years of maximum earnings. Why would she vote against that to protect veterans who criticize her in the media? The league is betting that when push comes to shove, the players with the most star power will vote in their own financial interest. And they're probably right. Think about the alternative. If players reject this offer and we head toward a lockout or strike, what happens? The 2025 season gets delayed or canceled. Caitlin Clark loses a year of her prime earning potential. Paige Bueckers' debut gets postponed. Sponsors start getting nervous. Media partners reconsider their commitments. Casual fans who just started watching because of Clark might drift away. The league can survive a work stoppage better than the players can. The NBA owners who subsidize the WNBA aren't going to miss that money. But players who are making $76,000 or even $200,000 can't afford to lose a season of income. That's the leverage imbalance that's going to push this toward a resolution. The league knows it. The union leadership knows it. And increasingly, the players themselves are figuring it out. So when you hear Kelsey Plum saying we're not settling, but also I'm super proud of this opportunity, what she's really saying is, we're going to sign this deal, we're going to frame it as a victory, and we're going to move forward. The only question is whether veteran players are going to accept being left behind, or whether they're going to create enough internal resistance to complicate the vote. Because make no mistake, this CBA heavily favors young stars over established veterans. It's designed that way intentionally. The league is investing in its future, not its past. And you know what? From a pure business standpoint, that's exactly what they should be doing. You pay the people who generate revenue. Caitlin Clark sells tickets and drives ratings. Paige Bueckers will do the same. They deserve to be compensated accordingly. But that doesn't make it any less awkward for veterans who spent years building this league when nobody was watching, only to see rookies come in and immediately earn more than they ever did. That resentment is real, and it's going to shape how this negotiation concludes. The league made a calculated bet that the future of the WNBA is worth more than keeping veterans happy. Time will tell if they're right, but based on everything we're seeing, this deal is probably getting done. The money is too good, the trajectory is too positive, and the alternative is too risky. So here's my question for you. Should veterans accept this deal even though it clearly benefits younger players more? Or should they hold out for a better offer, even if it risks losing a season? Because you can't have it both ways. Either you prioritize league growth and accept that young stars get paid, or you prioritize veteran compensation and risk derailing the momentum. What would you do? Let me know in the comments.